This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so last session we were discussing about how do we do some basic administration. We started with process management. So to find out the list of process, we use the PS command, and to deal with the process management, so we went with kill command, and we just try to manage to stop the process and kill the process basically. And from there we moved on to the user management. So in the user management we talked about how to add a user and how to add a user to a group, okay, how to add a group, okay, kind of things. We just touched those, and how to switch from one user to another user and things like that we discussed. And the next thing is and the next thing we talked about, there is pseudo concept. So that means as a normal user, you will be logging into the system. So you'll not log into the system as a root user. So you always log in as a normal user. When you log in as a normal user, how do you deal with the administrative activities? We end of the day, you're the human being and you're going to execute the commands. And how do you deal with them? So that's where we have sudo concept. So we talked about how do you add a user to the sudo, and also we came to a decision that from now on we'll never go to the root user login, okay, directly. We'll always log in as a normal user, and from there we'll sudo and gain the access to the root access. That's okay. But in the backend, as I already shown you, so the things are getting tracked, so which is not a problem. Okay, so that is the another thing. Okay, and after that we talked about the package management. So how do you install some packages, how do you update some packages, where actually the packages are coming from, just kind of some glimpse on that particular area, right? So yeah, and the types of packages which you installed is RPM based packages, but that's not the only way of how do you install the package. Okay, so there are alternate ways of installation of the packages as well, so which we'll see them in the later in the sessions. But typically talking about how do you install the packages, through package manager, and yum is a command which you have in Linux. And now we are going to talk about the remaining topics, which is service management and some permission management. Okay, so let's talk about that. And yeah, so we need to talk about a bit more things as well. So we'll try to talk that. And first of all, I require an instance. I'll go to launch an instance. You know how to launch an instance, right? So you'll be going into community AMIs and search for DevOps practice and choose my image. Okay, so add storage tags name, which is, oh sorry, I didn't talk about this, sorry, forget about that. Security group, nothing to modify. Review and launch, nothing to modify. Launch, proceed without a key pair. Yeah, and also in the meantime, Katakura. So go to the Linux administration. All right, so now I can go to this particular instance and I can just connect with the public IP address. And so here you have SSH CentOS at the rate this one. So as or no, just give yes. Okay, all right. Now this is, we talked about is service management. Now whenever you install any service, so you're going to so run that particular service, right? So how do you run the service? And that is where the service management come into picture. So there's a command which is available which takes care of the services to start and stop whenever you want. Okay, whenever you want to stop the services, you want to start them. Whenever you want to stop them, you can stop them. And also, so certain scenarios like if the system is rebooted, you want to start it automatically. So it's all these kind of requirements that this service management will take care of. Okay, and the command which we have here is systemctl. So until CentOS 6, actually, we used to deal with some service command, but from CentOS 7, that means Red Hat 7, so we are having the systemctl command. Okay, so systemctl command is much powerful than service command. So if you want to really look into the internals of what is that, I think I copied a video here, link. So just want to look, if you want to really look into the internals of what actually systemctl is different with service, what all the features they added, you can just open that YouTube video. You can take a look. That's from the developer of systemctl explaining why we need systemctl kind of thing. Okay, so and Red Hat actually adopted it in their latest operating systems. Now systemctl, first of all, you're in, it doesn't matter which operating system you're in, not operating system, I would say. So which service you want to run doesn't really matter. So first you want to go with finding out the list of services which are running, list units, and the type is service you can give. And also I have given, to become a root user, I have given sudo -i, or else you can also give sudo su-. Okay, anything is fine. Okay, so yeah. Now systemctl list units -t service, it is actually showing you the list of services if you see them, right? So this is what you did. So some are actually failed and some are actually but exited. Some are actually active running. Okay, so it is just showing you the loaded services. Okay, kind of thing. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. So if you know the service, you can go ahead and so start the service. But first let me go and install a package called as Nginx, because this is the package which we try to install at the time of package management for demonstration. Okay, so let me install that once again. Okay, and now systemctl status Nginx. The status is showing that it is loaded, but it is active is inactive. It's not actually running. Okay, now systemctl start Nginx. Okay, then you can go ahead and check the status. Systemctl status Nginx. Now it is actually active and running. So how come it became running? Because you started the Nginx. Systemctl start space Nginx. Okay, you started Nginx, and that's how it came through. All right, so and the next thing is if you want to stop the Nginx, you can go with the stop Nginx, and you can look into the status once again if you want. You can see this, it is actually becoming active. Sometimes you need to go for a restart of the Nginx also. So why you require restart is you require restart because you modify some configuration. Once you install the package, you did some modification, and to load the modifications again you need a restart. Okay, so that's where sometimes you go with the restart of Nginx, and as it is stopped, as you restarted it, you look into the status, it becomes like running again. Okay, so this is how it's going to happen. Now, assume in a case if the machine reboots, then you want to start the service along with the operating system. Okay, now let's say if I reboot the system, so this, this service will not come up. How come is, you can check the information here. So actually here you can see this, the Nginx service is actually showing as disabled. In the loaded line, it's actually showing as disabled. So what you can do is you can just go for systemctl enable Nginx. Okay, and you go for looking the status Nginx now. So previously it is showing the disabled, that at the time of reboot it's going to be a disabled, and here now you enabled it. So that means now if you reboot the service, automatically that's gonna just bring up this particular service. Okay, now I'll go and give systemctl disable Nginx. That means I'll put it to disable once again, and I will go for reboot. Reboot is nothing but a restart of the system. Okay, so just give reboot command. Reboot command, even the connection got terminated. If you see there, it just goes and reboots the system. So just in some 20-30 seconds later, you just try to connect it once again. It usually allows for a connection. So reboot takes bit of time, right? So just for that time. Spell was bit mistake. Yeah. So systemctl status Nginx, it will not be started. So systemctl status Nginx, it will not be started. Why? Because it's been disabled. Okay. Now systemctl enable Nginx, and then if I go for reboot once again now reboot, and I was mentioning that so the system should come up automatically at the time of reboot. So yeah. The machine might be up. Let's take a look. Yeah. So now systemctl status Nginx, it's actually running. Okay. So that's what is the general things which we do. So yeah, we install some services and we want to start those particular services. We give systemctl start, and we want to start at the time of reboot also systemctl enable. That's all. And again, whenever you need any kind of reloading the configurations, then it's going to be some systemctl restart option. So these are the general used options in systemctl. Okay, in the service management. Okay, all right, and so the Nginx came, the Nginx service along with the package you install. The service along with the package you installed in package management section. Some softwares which you might need to install in future, not as an RPM, so and those services will not come by default into systemctl. In that case, we need to configure our own services and we need to deal with the systemctl. We should ask the systemctl to manage them. Okay, so how do we do that? Definitely we'll be seeing that in the future. Okay, so yeah, that's what we can do. So just for practice purpose, you can just explore how to add your own custom service into the into the system. But yeah, definitely we will be talking about this again later in the sessions. Okay, that's the idea. Any questions?
Only for enabling and disabling we have to reboot
No,
things,
the
right?
enabling and disabling, you don't need to reboot the system. If you enable it at the time of reboot, like let's say you did some maintenance kind of thing, you rebooted the system. At that time also the service will start up automatically rather than you go and start it manually. Yeah, that's it. Just to demonstrate, I rebooted it. You don't really need to reboot to affect them, get them affected. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone? Any other questions?
Raghu,
Yes, Ailesh.
small doubt. In the if anyone in the middle of the work, if I take this reboot, means then the work will be crashed, no?
Yeah, obviously.
And the files. Then how the files will be uploaded? Again, it will take any.
Yeah, in companies, you'll be notifying when you're doing a real systems, you'll be getting notified to the persons like, so whoever is working kind of thing, right? So typically, end of the day, you are the guy who is managing the machine. Your team is managing the machine. You know who is working. So no one really go into the server and modify the file. That's actually a wrong approach. Okay, so today we talk about something called as immutable infrastructure. So I'll talk about this particular concept later in the sessions. So immutable infrastructure refers to the servers or the VMs. So that are never modified after the deployment. So that means once you create a server, once you kind of make the configuration, you never go and touch that. Okay. If you want to make a change, you destroy the server and recreate it. That's the whole fundamental. Okay. So, but yeah, your point is correct in some scenarios, but in our area, I mean, more into the DevOps area. So I don't think so. That's, but again, that depends. Again, your point is correct again. So if you are actually feeling like other users are there, notify them saying that you're taking the machine down. That's it.
Raghu,
Yeah.
Vitesha here.
Yeah.
I have a small doubt regarding the AWS. Like,
Uh-huh.
when I was doing the practice, when I was creating instances, like suppose after one instances, I just terminate one instance. After that, I was logging into another instances. I can see the history are there in the list. So how to means clear those out? Any idea like or
No, I didn't get you. Where the history? Inside the command line or on the Amazon?
not here in the AWS? Yeah,
Yeah, it will
EC2
go away
list.
automatically
Yeah.
after some time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. So yeah, if you just take a look here. So there are some machines here, right? Just before this session, another session, I terminated the instance, right? So after some time, so those will just clean up automatically.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Fine.
Okay, so the next one is going to be the permission management. Okay, so the permission management uh, is going to deal with the permissions of the file. Okay, in Linux ecosystem, basically, everything is a file, and permission management is a kind of work we generally do as well. Okay, So in that, okay, so if you have some files and how do you deal with the permissions of those particular files is what we're going to talk about now. So now we'll see there's a file which is created, so sample.txt file, and so we have these are the permissions. But now when you actually try to create a file, so when the file is created inside the system, so the file will be associated to a user and owner of the group. Now CentOS is a user, he belongs to the CentOS primarily, so ID space CentOS, and ID CentOS is actually belong to this, and his group is also the major group he belongs to is CentOS. But the file whatever he creates, okay, so automatically comes here as a user, and his owner, whatever the group he actually become, the group owner will be his group actually. So the files which a person creates, it actually put the permissions of that particular user. Okay, fine. Now if I want to change the permission, so then what is the command I have is chown command. Better go, let me go to the root user because it requires root privileges. Okay, I will just go here and let's say I'll create one more. Now as a root user, I created this sample file. So in other location is actually coming as a root and root. Okay, so because the root user belong to root, root group by default. Okay, so that's what it is. Now if you want to change the so group to some other user, then chown, like let's say previously we have CentOS user, right? I want to change the ownership of this particular file to the CentOS group. So then chown change the ownership is a command, and CentOS is the group name, username I'm keeping, and the file name I'm giving. So that's where this file becomes CentOS as the owner. Now CentOS guy can actually go on deal with this file because he's the owner now. Okay, so sometimes you need to change the permissions of the users, permissions of the files to the certain users. Okay, that's where the chown command come into picture. Now how about if you want to change the group also? Okay, then you have something called as chgrp command. So there is a group add command here. So now you see this group add, DevOps group I added, change group to DevOps of sample.txt file, then the group is now changed to DevOps. That means all the persons of this particular DevOps group can deal with this file also. One guy is the owner and the other guys are the group owners. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, so now okay, so if you want to change the owner and the group at the same time, if you want to change the ownership of a particular file at the same time, owner and group owner at the same time, so then we can go with the chown, this one. So you see this chown CentOS :DevOps. So that means owner and the group owner, and you see as CentOS DevOps. And the chown again, I'm changing it back to root: then it becomes root and root. Okay, that's how you can change the ownership of the file. You can change the ownership of the file by using chown command. You don't require chgrp command. You can always go with chown command, and based on that command only you can move it. Okay, all right, and the next one is actually going to be the permissions. But you're taking like owner and group owner. What these guys can do actually? Okay, you gave the ownership. What they will do? Okay, that's where the permissions comes into picture. Ownerships is what you have given, and what they can act is basically the permissions. The permissions are RWX. Okay, RWX. So that means read, write, execute. So these are the three permissions which we have in that particular. These are the three permissions which you have in that particular. These are the three permissions which I'm having in that particular. Not in that particular, in the system, operating system, the three permissions which you have. Okay, RWX. Okay, so read, write, execute. Okay, so you're going to have RWX. So you're going to have three permissions. Okay, so R stands for read. Okay, that means who can read the content. So who can write the content, that means who can modify. X means who can execute the content. Okay, so who can execute the content. So this is how you have read, write, execute. So 3 permissions which you are having it. Now you are going to give to the owner. So now you have 3 people again in the. You have 3 people in the system. Okay, so one is who is owner. Okay, or who is the user, right? So who is the user, and who is the group, who is the other. Okay, the U stands for user, whoever is the owner, whoever is the owner of the file. And so G is the whoever is the group owner of the file. Okay, and whereas the X is O is others. Okay, now in a system there is a one user, one group. There are other users and other groups also, right? Those are actually notated as others. Okay, now what is the permissions which you are having is, so this RWX actually set is going to be, so RWX, RWX, RWX. So the first one is owner, what he can do, and the other one is group owner, what he can do, and the others are what they can do. So these are the 3 things which you are having. Okay, now if you look into the file system example which you are having here is, so you are having the rw-r-r-r. So what is the permission which you are having there? So you are having kind of, so rw hyphen, oh sorry, rw hyphen and r hyphen hyphen and r hyphen hyphen. So that means what owner can do, what is a group owner can do, and what others can do. So what owner can do, he can read and write. What group can what group people can do, only read, and what others can do is only read. Now if you want to add or subtract the permission, so you can just go for okay, so you can just go for this one. So what you're going to do here is you're going to give either plus or minus. Okay, either plus or minus. So now you want to give for an example, if you want to give user, if you want to give user groups and others, okay, so you want to give all permissions rwx. So this is what you are going to give. That becomes this is equal to rwx, rwx, rwx. Okay, now you can just give u plus r gw, okay, rwx, wx. So this is nothing but rwx. So probably I don't know what is the rate of permission, so whatever is there, it also can be there. Okay, so then you can give user minus rather than user minus, I will see group and others minus rwx, rwx. So that becomes, so what are the permissions you have here? To the owner doesn't really matter, so the remaining permissions becomes minus. Okay, like that. So think about the scenario what you want, and based on that you make it. And but yeah, so this is what you have. And the command to deal with this, you are having a chmod command. Okay, now if I go for chmod, okay, so ugo minus rwx of sample.txt, and you do ls-l, you see this, the permissions are empty, no one can do anything. Okay, and the chmod only for user plus rw, and it is going to be sample.txt, and ls-l of sample.txt. You can see only the owner will be having read write. Okay, others will not have anything. Like this, you can just deal with the permissions. If you just remember this particular table is fine. If you just remember this table, it's more than enough actually to deal with this. Okay, easily. All right, and that's what is the permission things which are having in here. Okay, clear? Any questions? Yeah.
Can you explain this LS structure, sir?
What is that?
LS structure. That
LS
is
structure.
First one is a user, second is a group. You have told me now. Like that. This zero means what, sir?
Okay, so the fields you're saying, okay, the fields is the first field is actually going to the type of the file. So I already told you when actually directories topic when I'm talking about this is the type of the file denotes the first character, and now you know the what is the remaining 10 characters, and the number one is basically like so how many number of links actually it is using on the hard disk, okay, kind of thing. How many kind of blocks you can understand, okay, not blocks exactly. So so the file system index consumption, how much it is doing, how many numbers it is using this much, and who is the owner and group owner. This zero denotes the file size, and this timestamp tells that when the file was last modified. Yeah.
Okay. And if I use this ch mod u plus rw is there, no, sir. If I want to change the file after some time, again I have to delete it and create it.
Why you need to delete? So change the permissions, you can just change the permissions, right? Why to delete the file?
That means I'm asking if this u plus rw you have told me, sir. Firstly, second, I want to change the permissions to the user to group owner. To the user to group owner, sir. Again I have to remove this u minus rw, and again I have to place it g plus rw.
That is your requirement, right? If you want both actually, then you can ignore user and give only to the group. So the user will, whatever the permission is already there, it will still remain same. You're dealing with only with the group. So what is your requirement? Based on that, you should be using it. You don't need to remove and then add it all the time. Yeah.
We can change it at any time directly.
Yeah, it will override if you're actually dealing with that. You know, to remove and then do that. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to give permission for specific directory?
Yeah. So directly the same option with hyphen capital R option. So the same, like so yeah, I missed this point. Thank you. So if it is a directory, then you are going to give with capital R option. So like CP small r, RM small r, dealing with the directories, both with the chmod and chown commands. So it actually has to be hyphen capital R. That's it. If it's a directory. Yeah.
Yeah, Raghu, if you know, if you ever have that, can you explain digits are there, na? 777, like that. For example, if you create one directory, you said na chmod something, chmod 775. We have to give like that, like permission, like also, na? Any idea about that permission? 777, like that.
So you're a beginner, guys. Okay, so deal with, see, same things can be done with multiple ways. Okay, so there's another way as well. You know this way, so this is much easier way for a learner to learn the things. So you can start this way, and this way also you do the same thing. End of the day, you don't really require that.
Okay.
Not really. Yeah. Anyone? Any other questions? Okay, so one last thing. So of course it's not there in the so here actually as a topic. Yes, Salesh.
Sorry, sir, for disturbing you. Sir, can we change the files? Can we change these permissions to the hidden files also?
Any file is a file. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next thing, so one thing which I have not mentioned in here is network management. Okay, network management, you don't need to bother about how do you put IP address and things like that in the cloud. Why? Because it's all taken care by the cloud. Your work will not be there much there. But here we need to talk about an understanding of how the network works, right? So first of all, I mean, in Amazon also, so what actually you're doing? Okay, what actually I mean, you created a server, so basically, so there's a question. So basically, for a beginner, some people might already know Amazon. That's okay, but yeah, so certain people, it is a new thing to you. So you need to, I mean, so there is something called as public IP. Okay, there's something called as private IP. If you see on the UI, basically, so these are the two things which are having. So what is this? Okay, you need to start understanding this. In Amazon, if I go there, so here you have public IPv4 address and private IPv4 address. And first of all, these IPs are two types basically. So IPs of two types, IPv4 and IPv6. So there are two things. So we are just using this one, and this is the default one, by the way, unless until if you want v6 and enable that. Okay, so v4 is fine. Okay, that's fine. Now when you have IP address, you are having okay, a public IP and private IP. So hope everyone would be aware of an IP, how it looks like, right? So it looks like x dot x dot x dot x. So that means it's going to be, each is an octet. Okay, so that means 0 to 255. You will see a range. Everything is an octet. That means you will see only 0 to 255. Okay, any IP you take it. Okay, you will see 0 to 255 dot 0 to 255 dot 0 to 255 or whatever it is. Okay, so you will see this only. Now, why there are two IPs to this machine? Okay, typically if I go to an organization, so like let's say I have my own okay, I have my own data center, or like let's say I have my own data center, and inside this I am creating one server and I'm assigning one IP address. I'll always connect to this IP address only, right? So why there is something called as a public IP coming into picture? Okay, so what is it actually happening? Okay, so why actually not a single IP? So why you require a couple of other IPs? Okay, or basically not couple, one IP. Why do you require that public IP? Okay, what's happening here? Let's understand your home setup. You understand your home setup, then you'll understand this as well. Now you go with like let's say in your home you're having a Wi-Fi router, right? So this is a Wi-Fi router. So probably you're connecting to that particular Wi-Fi router. So from internet, okay, so from somewhere the cable will come, right? So this is the ISP guy. Okay, ISP guy plugging a cable to your Wi-Fi router, and from this one, so you're actually going to connect with your multiple devices. Okay, so you're going to put your laptop. Okay, you're going to say like you're going to have some mobile, so probably you assign some Alexa. Okay, whatever it is, doesn't really matter, right? So you're connecting to that particular Wi-Fi. Now when you connect, actually you're going to get one IP address. You generally get one IP address. Okay, so that particular IP address is some like so 192 dot generally 192 series is what is preferred. Okay, so now you're getting the 192 series IP address. Okay, let me look my laptop setup. Okay, I'll go to my system preferences and I will say I'll be going with the network. Okay, so advanced something, and I'll go with yeah, you see this, my IP address is 192.168.0.37. okay, fine, all right, I got an IP address 192.168 0.37. all right, fine. And this is the Wi-Fi, right? This is the Wi-Fi, but to the outside world okay, so you try to look this. Okay, how does it look like to the outside world? How does it look like? So do I look like 192? Not sure, right? To the other face of the internet, to other face of the Wi-Fi, so how does it look like? Okay, so what is my IP address? I'll ask my internet, what is my IP address? The internet is telling me I am actually, so the 42.204.176.10. Okay, so to the outside world I look like this. To the inside world I look like this. Okay, that means what's happening here. So I mean any of your data, any of your device connected inside Wi-Fi is this guy only, is a single guy. So that doesn't mean actually, so what actually is happening here? So for every device to connect to the internet, you require an internet connection. Okay, for every device I cannot take a separate internet connection. That doesn't make sense, right? So for every device I have, if I'm buying a new internet connection, that's actually is too much costly, right? So that's not what we're actually doing. So that means we're actually doing a concept here, so which is called as NATing. Okay, NAT. Okay, stands for network address translation. Okay, so it's actually going to be NATing. What it is doing, NATing is basically so network address translation. It is translating the one address to another address. Okay, it is taking the 42 series and connecting it to 192 series. And who is actually doing that? That actually been done by NAT device, which is your Wi-Fi router. Your Wi-Fi router is doing that. Okay, your Wi-Fi router is a NATing device. It actually takes one internet connection and split it into multiple devices, and that's what is going to happen. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And okay, so this is the concept, right? So you understand the NATing concept now. So one address translating to another address. Now what Amazon is doing is you create a server. Okay, you create a server. So you create a server. So then what actually it is going to do is it takes one public IP, and from the pool of Amazon, it actually take the IP and put it to your server IP. So anyone connects from and allows you flexibility to connect from internet. Okay, if anyone connects to this particular public IP, that Amazon has the information that okay, so this guy is actually need to be translated to this particular account of Amazon. Okay, this particular server. So it has a metadata information generally. Okay, so this guy should go to this account because the public IPs are open pool. Either you created the server, I created the server. We just take it from the pool of Amazon. Now, while it is actually while you are actually taking in the pool, then once it is reserved to you, it actually so it kind of stores some kind of metadata information storing. Okay, this IP belongs to this guy, kind of thing, right? So that's how you are actually going to get the public IP is needed to connect from the outside world and translating to the server IP. Okay, so that means inside the company also it works the same way. Inside the company also it works the same way. So you can have so many servers actually. These servers are actually can intercommunicatable with the server IPs only directly. Like let's say you're seeing 172 series. This also will have 172. This also will have 172. This also will have 172. These can intercommunicatable each other. Okay, and from the outside it actually going to be a single IP. And but actually you're going actually a connection. So each server has its own public IP, but server to server connection can go with internal. Like let's say my laptop can connect to, or my mobile can connect to my laptop using the 192 series IP. Okay, but if someone is coming from the outside world, I want to connect to the laptop, then they use 49 series IP, right? If someone coming from outside, then 42. Someone from internal, 192. So 172 is also something we have, another series, internal series. Okay, I'll talk about that later, but still this is the concept actually. So public IP, private IP. Okay, why you are saying two IPs? So that's the answer basically. So that's the public IP. Okay, now this public IP, the properties of this particular public IP that Amazon offers is it's temporary. That means you stop the instance and you start the instance, not restart. Restart is different. stop and start is different. If you stop it and start it, you'll never get a same IP. There's no chance of getting the same IP for that particular server. That's how Amazon works basically. Okay, in fact, any cloud basically. Okay, so all right, the next one is going to be okay, how do you connect to the services? Okay, you are going to install some services inside your servers. Okay, how are you going to deal with those particular services? Okay, and how do you connect to those particular services inside the server? Now you're going to go for a server, right? You create a server. Okay, until now what all we talked about, that you're going to have one IP address, like let's say 172 dot some series. I'm just saying x.x. Okay, now and from this actually, so this server should be connected by using a public IP. Okay, so you're having a public IP, and using that actually you're hitting this and you hit that and you're getting. So until now how you're hitting over SSH. So that means you're connecting to the server over to that particular one. Now what are the other layers actually involved over here? Okay, what are the other layers you're involved over here? Your server is always runs only one service? No, servers are not meant for running only one service. Servers are meant for running more services also, not single service. Services are meant for running, servers are meant for running more services. Now let's say if you are going to the same server, okay, then how do you differentiate? I want this service information, I want that service information. How do you do that? How do you do that? How it happens basically? Okay, so that's where there is something called as porting come into picture. Okay, so ports come into picture. The port range is 0 to 65,535. Okay, so this is the port range of the server. Now you actually start any service. Okay, it actually binds with, it opens one port on the server side. On the network layer, it opens a socket, it opens a port basically, and you are running one more service, it opens another port. You open another service, you can open another port. So like that, 0 to 65,000, you can open 65,000 ports actually on the server. Okay, so those many services no one runs, but still you can open those many. Okay, you have that numbers basically. All right, so this is how you have a differentiation. So now whenever you try to connect, it always goes with a particular port number. Now if you open your PuTTY, you will see something called as a port number after opening the PuTTY. Let me show some images from the internet directly. Yeah, this is your PuTTY, right? So here is always a port number 22. You're not modifying that, but that's a standard number. So that means you're actually opening the PuTTY connections. You are hitting the server, knocking the door of the server on 22 port number. Okay, so that's where okay, you're going to have particular port number. So the port numbers are standard, very standard port numbers will be there. Especially we're actually going to deal with web servers, right? We're actually going to deal with web applications. The ports, very standard ports of web, so web applications is web apps port numbers are 80 and 443. 80 is nothing but a HTTP, and here it is, sorry. So here it is HTTPS. So these ports are very quite common. Okay, so 80 and 443 are the very standard ports. No one will change this port at all. Any of the organization who is opening the ports on the public internet, they will never change these ports. So they're always standard port 80 and 443. Okay, now actually you're not allowed to freely connect to that server. So there is, Amazon has introduced one more layer. Until now you have not seen that. So there is something called as a firewall. Okay, also called as a security group. Not also in Amazon you call it as security group, which is nothing but a firewall. Okay, so in Amazon, so in the firewall you're going to have a fine-grained rules saying that if the request is coming from some person, which is nothing but some IP address and with some port number, then only allow it, otherwise don't allow that. Okay, now I have an SSH access, so SSH access should be allowed only by my company. Okay, So that my company, so I am sitting inside my company. So company will have an internet. So company will have an IP address. Okay, I will say that the rule, if the SSH should be opened only if it comes from my company. But whereas you're opening HTTP port, so which is actually a public port, so it's from internet. Okay, now the firewall rules actually you're going to say that. Okay, so the firewall rule you're going to say that. So if the, now let's say if it is some, let's say 1.1.1.1, okay, you're going to say a rule saying that if any request coming from 1.1.1.1, then allow 22 port. This is the rule you're going to make it. Or in fact in reverse actually. So the 22 port should be allowed only from 1.1.1.1. You're going to write that rule. Okay, now let's say my IP address is some IP address, right? So some 42.204.176.0. so then I will give that particular IP address only that IP address. If it is coming with port 22, it opens the connection. So outside people doesn't really require server connections. Only the people who is sitting inside, or whoever is the company owners, they only require SSH access to the box to see what is happening inside the box. I'm opening Google all these days. I never know what is running inside a Google server, right? You don't know. Okay, but the Google engineers who works inside Google needs the access to look into what is happening inside that particular google.com server. Okay, so the same way. Now let's say if it is an 80 port, okay, 80 port, I will say it's public, right? It's internet. Okay, so that's where I will say 0.0.0.0. So okay, so this notates that it's public. This notates this is public. This is going to be by 0. This is going to be by 32. What is this? You will see that in a bit later sessions. But for now, by 32 is nothing but a single IP. It's actually a single IP. So by 0 is nothing but the whole IPs. The whole IPs are all IPs, in fact. Okay. So this is the firewall rules which we are going to write, and we are going to call that as a security group in Amazon. So now whenever I am actually trying to, now let's say, now if I want to check open ports on the server, so if I want to check open ports on server, okay, so by using netstat-lntp. So this is a command which I'm going to execute. So this command is going to help me in finding out what all the open ports which are there in that particular system. Okay, so if I go and say that netstat -lntp and enter, so you can see that there's a port 80 open, and this is by Nginx. Okay, this is by Nginx. So which it is going to work in both the IPv4 and IPv6 also. So TCP6 is nothing but IPv6, and TCP is nothing but IPv4. Even though if you have masked a public IP address as IPv4 or IPv6, this service will work, whatever it is. Okay, so there's an 80 port open. Now if I hit this particular server on the browser, if you hit any server, it always tries to go with 80 port only. You are hitting the server over the 80 port, and actually you're not getting any response. Why? Because who is blocking there? There's a firewall actually in place, and that firewall is actually stopping not to get into that server. It's a security, right? So I want to say that, hey, can you allow that? Okay, how can I do that? Is so here in the instance you have the security part. Okay, so you come there and there is a security group attached. You go with this, click on that security group. The inbound rules, if you see this, only 22 is actually allowed from everywhere. This is what the rule it is. Now I want to add another rule, so stating that add rule, and I want to allow HTTP traffic also. I'll say HTTP. Okay, so it actually should reach from anywhere you do, it automatically becoming as 0.0.0 and ::0 that means IPv4 and IPv6 both. Okay, so save rules. Now if I go to the browser and hit it once again, so you will start getting the response of the machine. Okay, so now you see this welcome to CentOS, some content which is being served by the machine, you're displaying on this particular screen. So the displacement, I mean, you will change that particular content to your company's application content. So how to do that, we'll see that later, but you will change the content, that particular content will be displayed on the screen. Okay, so this is how we get it. Okay, So the whole process is this one. So there's a firewalls always be in place, which always you have to open the ports, then only the things will work. Otherwise, the things will not work. Okay. Now actually, so this is a lab, right? This is a lab. So until few sessions, until few sessions, until we go into a standardization, I don't want to run behind opening the ports. I want to open the ports all the time. I want to open all the ports. I want to open all the ports. How do I open all the ports? Okay, so that's where I will be going into. On the left side, you have a security groups. You see this is the firewalls, network and security. And I'll click on this security groups. You have some security group. Now I'm going to create a security group now. So what is the security group name? I'm saying this is allow-all. Okay, allow everything. I'm not going to block anything. Allow all. Okay, I'm not going to block anything. I'm just saying allow all. The traffic is going to be all traffic. It's already coming up as, okay, this is outbound rules, the inbound rules. So that means incoming traffic. Outbound, anyone can go out. I'm not filtering. I mean, my server can go to any website. I'm not stopping that. But whoever is coming to my server, so actually I'm saying that, all TCP, okay, from anywhere. And you create a security group. That's it. This security group is created. From now on to the servers, whatever I create, I will attach this security group. Okay, attach this particular firewall. How do I do that? Okay, so I'll just go to the launch instance. Go to this one. Select. Security group, add storage, add tags. Now you see this configure security group is the one coming. Configure security group. Until now you just left it, but now you are going to start choosing your own security group, which is allow all. Okay, review and launch, and you're going to launch it so that all the ports will be opened whenever you create the server. Okay, so that will not have any kind of a blocker related to the ports. Because you're just starting as a beginner, so, and this is a lab kind of thing, but later we'll restrict to the required ports. But until then, so we are going to open all the ports. You're going to open all the ports. All right, so that's how you're going to have things. Just give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah, sorry, I'm back. All right, so that is how so you'll be having a firewall. Keep in mind from now on, whenever the things are not working, so I mean you have some service running or not, you can check it out. You go into the server. I mean, let's say I try to open the web server, it's not coming. So first thing I'll be verifying is whether the port is open. Okay, if the port is open, okay, that means the service is running. Then I'll go and definitely look into the firewall. Firewall is the one which is blocking our traffic. Okay, so usually there will be OS level firewall also. OS level firewall we don't use much. Why? Because if the person is already inside the system, okay, the OS level firewall will really not help in most of the scenarios. Okay, it has to be blocked on the network level. Okay, on the server level, he already inside the network, so it doesn't so much impact whether it putting on the OS level, but still, yeah. So that's a trade-off. Actually, we talk it. It's a debatable topic again. Let it be that way. So usually on the OS level also, we have some firewalls, and yeah, so we are actually trying to disable them. Okay, by default, CentOS will not use, at least not CentOS. I'm just Amazon will not allow you to use, will not allow. Basically, I would say, will not come up with their images with firewall enabled. That's it. Okay, so yeah, it's really not needed. Yeah, any questions on this? Any questions?
Yeah, Raghu. So I have
Yeah,
already
Raghu.
launched an
Hello.
instance. So yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Funny.
Day before yesterday, I have already launched a instance. So I need to terminate that. I need to and launch the again, right? So because I need to create one more new instance. Sorry, because to add all this network security groups and all.
Yeah, not really needed. So if the instance is already there, so you can go to the security, and
Mm-hmm.
you can, it's not coming here, right? So you can go to the instance actions basically, and you can say go to the security, and you can go for change security group, and you can select the new
Oh, okay.
one. Okay, you can remove the old one. Like, let's say allow all I want to put, I'll add the security group, and I'll remove the old one. That's it. So this becomes a new firewall rules adding to that. Yeah.
Okay. So no need to terminate them. Yeah, thank you.
But instance don't keep up and running. Why? Because it's chargeable, right? So
Yeah, I have stopped. I have stopped. Yeah, after creating instance, I have stopped that.
that's, yes, not ready.
Yeah, Raghu. Hello.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, just now you told me network concept. How can we use for DevOps that network concept? That means what you said now. Those who are ready to learn AWS administrator like that AWS architect level, they will use. They will know. They will aware of that ports like that. How you use as a DevOps engineer? How it is useful network concept? What you tell now? In which scenario that is it will be used for Kubernetes Docker level, at what level we use that concept, network concept. Network concept is very big concept. Hello.
no, I'm just trying to understand your question. Come to the point, okay? So when you say question, be on the point.
No,
So
you
that,
said you said SSH for 22 it is HTTP 80.
okay.
Everyone aware of that. What I'm asking is
Hmm.
as a DevOps engineer, how
Hmm.
to use network concept at what level? That means at Docker level, Kubernetes level, we use network concept. It is for a basic level. We have to know. We have to know aware of that network. That means how to connect the server. I am asking how we will use network concept in Docker. That means in DevOps.
You are using so many words actually. First of all, your question is not clear. Docker, you're mentioning. Okay. So many words. When you are actually, I mean, just a suggestion, don't take me wrong. When you actually put a
Okay.
question, it has to be on the point. Okay. So here and there words, if you use, you cause confusion to the other person. It should never happen, right? So when you go to the interview, answer, you're saying the whole different things, but you're not coming to the point. It will not be useful. Okay, let me understand. So from whatever you have said, so you're asking that how much deeper the knowledge you need it on the network level. That's the thing I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, yes. As a DevOps engineer,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
So I just talked about only the port connection. Okay, network concept, I'll take it in the later in the sessions. Okay, when there is a network setup need to be done, VPC concepts. So I'll try to take a little bit deeper. But again, I'm not teaching you CCNA certification or CCNP. I'll not talk about in the layer what is happening, right? So that's not our job again. Okay, so network engineers will be here, and they will usually take care of that. But again, in the cloud, you don't really require in that area. So cloud is a self-service. I can go ahead and with the knowledge of what I have, so I can go ahead and so use that particular one. That's it. I'm talking about networking.
Yeah, okay, Raghu.
Yeah. Anyone? Any other questions? Okay, so I think so. The topic wise, we have almost done with our Linux. So all you need to do is just learn these particular commands. Okay. So if I just try to put a recall of what all the commands we have learned so far, so the commands which you have just from the starting, I was just going to help you now. So whenever you log into your system, okay. So I'm just trying to recall now. Whenever you log into your system, so you want to know that whether it's a Linux machine or not, you can just type union command, so that command will help you in understanding whether that is a Linux box or not. So the first thing, okay. So in the very starting of the software introduction, I mean not software, the Linux introduction topic, I talked about how do you check the software running, hardware running, okay, things like that, right? At the time I show you uname. Uname just shows Linux, that means a Linux box. Because Unix and Linux are same SSH connections it uses. When you log in, you don't know whether it is a Unix box or Linux box. Some people who actually come from so certain old background, they still call Linux as a Unix box only. Okay, so yeah, so that's where you have to be a little bit cautious, not cautious, I would say conscious of what actually where you're actually running. Okay, and also you need to check that so which operating system you're running. /star release will help you in understanding which operating system you're running. Okay, and coming to the next command, we started with ls command to list up the files, and touch command to create the file, and okay, touch command to create a file. And so creation of the file, so we don't really require a touch command, so because yeah, we have a, I mean we don't really require to create an empty file, right? So certain scenarios yes, but still so we create the files with some content inside that, so the VA editor is the answer majorly. Okay, so touch command you don't really much, and touch command, and then I will go with so cp command to copy the file, mv command to rename the file, and rm command to remove the file, right? And after that cd command and pwd commands are the commands which we talked on the directories, and mkdir to create a directory, rmdir or rm-r to remove the directory, so cp-r to again copy the directories, and mv to move the files from one directory to another directory, and at the same time renaming the directory as well. So these are the other basics I talked about. And after that how what are the other things we talked about? Next is file content. Okay, so the cat command we talked about, head command we talked about, tail command we talked about, ref command we talked about, and awk command. Probably the basics, which to start with is fine, those are fine. Okay, so not as I already I'm already telling you, okay, you know, to really prepare for everything. Okay, so you're not going for an exam, you're going to do the work. Okay, the way of work is going to be different than the exam, right? So so yeah, so whatever you learn in your engineering will never be useful in the when you come outside world. Okay, you have to okay, learn the things in a different way, right? So the work is completely different than theory, and practical is completely different. Okay, so that's what I would say. So what are the things we talked about is a decent to start with, at least. Okay, whenever there is an opportunity for you to, okay, so look for more, then look for more. Okay, that's what I would say. And after this we talked about VIM editor, and after that we talked about so finding out the files. Okay, so we talked about a call command majorly, and then we talked about some pipes as a concept wise. We talked about pipe symbol. Yeah, you already know that. And that's all the basic commands we generally require actually. Okay, and then we come to the Linux administration. So the ps command and kill command are the two commands which we majorly use, and the user add command is the major one which we use. And so after that we came to so the sudo was concept, so that's quite some sudo command. And after that so yum command is the one which we use, and the systemctl is the command which is another one which we use. And so to start your services and things like that. And finally chmod and chow and other commands which we had talked about dealing the permissions. And the netstat -lntp is netstat is another command which I talked about. So the whole, if you look into the commands, it's around less than 30 or around 30 might be. So yeah, around 30 it seems to be. So if I remove the empty lines, so the commands, whatever you are supposed to, even this cat command is not really a command, or union is really not a super command to learn, just basics. Okay, so hardly you have less than 30 commands. You probably sometime in between, so I might come up with 10 more commands. That's it. Hardly less than 50 commands that anyone can remember. Okay, some options, if you need the help, go to the internet, or --help will give you an answer. But yeah, so that's not a really a super difficult thing. Linux people looks like a different looks in a different way that looks like a difficult, but I'm telling you, so once you get comfortable with Linux, I'm telling you, so Windows is you'll feel like Windows is a crap. Okay, so that level of, for a professional, Windows is not the operating system. Okay, so Linux is the one, so which has a very powerful utilities which are available. Yeah, whatever it is. So this is the, okay, so you probably make a note. How do you do that? So you execute each command 1,000 times. I don't mind, but these commands you should have a solid knowledge that, so why are you using the command and where to use the command. Okay, so yeah, probably make a printout and keep it, stick it somewhere, or write it and stick it somewhere. It's your choice. How do you keep it? It's your choice. Okay, so yeah, so for me, at least you try to execute each command 100 times, 100 different times. Even though you know it, even though you knew it, okay, so but still go and execute and know that why are you executing that. Okay, so that's quite important. So that becomes you become little hands-on. Okay, and the next thing is I started collecting the emails, a bit of people, but still I'm not done yet. Today I'll try to look into that. So you're going to receive an email from me, something like this. So it looks mostly like this only. So this is the previous batch one, but still this looks like this. Okay, something like this. And if you click on this join to session, it will directly take you to the session. No more filling the details is really not needed. If you click on that, so I will send you, you will get that particular one. Okay, and it also has certain information basically, so that what all the videos you want actually, right? So the videos link will be linked here. And there is an Azure DevOps link which we are going to create for our batch. I'll create it for our batch. So that actually comes here. So Azure DevOps one. And finally, the Slack one. This is the important thing. Okay, you will start receiving emails actually today to the Slack. Okay, so if you click on this is my Slack channel. Okay, and once you go into the Slack, so this is how the Slacks look like. And also there is a video I'll forward, how to register with the Slack. It's quite simple only. It's not a big deal. So I will just try, so here there's a, there's a DevOps communication channel, basically DevOps and over here you put a question and I'll try to answer that. Okay, if you have any question, you try to put a screenshot or try to put an error message. So usually I will reply that. Okay, so that's what I would do. And this is how you can start communicating with me. All right. Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all from my side, basically, for today's session. Yeah. Or let me send an invite. So basically, let me send to this guy one. So I'll show you. So how does it look like, right? So just let me invite to an account, and I'll show you. So I'm going to invite you our email address. So my 3. So I'll just send the invite, and the invitation, you will be getting an email like this. Yeah, you'll be getting an invite like this. You click on that, so that's it. You click on join now, you're done. And it is going to tell you it will ask you your name. So I'm saying DevOps or something like that, and generate your password. Okay, so whatever the password you want to keep it, you can give that particular password and create an account. That's it. and you will be logging into the account. So when you want to put the question, so here it is. So DevOps.com is the one, and even you can see the previous charts also from the previous people, no issues. And yeah, if you want to put a question, so you'll say hi to me. Sorry. Hi, and I'll be getting that particular message. Okay, and I'll be replying you. And when you reply, you actually should not actually reply onto the same chat. Actually, so you started a thread, you are having an issue, right? So from here, you'll be going and replying in a thread basically. So that means that goes as one thread completely. Okay. So if you continuously put the messages over here, it actually confuses everyone. Okay. So the replies goes this way. So if someone put a question, even I reply on the as a thread. Okay, you will never see it here. So at the down, you'll see a reply. And if you click on the reply, so you will see an answer actually there. So here is the question, and here's the answer basically. So for this one, so you replied here, and I'll be replying something, you know, so like let's say from my Slack. Yeah, I will reply that same. No, so hi, hello, I'll not make it. Okay. So put your question, you know, to say to my hi or something like that. Okay, and don't wait for my reply. Put your question. Okay, then you will do that. And also to address me basically. So sometimes I'll overlook the things to address me directly. So what you can do is you can include me. How do I include me? My name is, you can just give Raghu and trainer. Okay, you can just give my name so that I'll get a pop-up notification so that I cannot miss the notification for the first time. So probably once the thread is started, it is really not needed. But until then, yes, okay, you can just mention @Raghu trainer. Okay, this is good so that I'll get notified basically easily. So I have this question. Okay, so something like that. So I'll start, you know, so basically you put your question and I'll just basically answer your question. That's what is going to happen. Okay. And you will see the reply actually not on the screen, it actually comes under the thread. So this is the important thing. Okay, so yeah, all right, this is how it goes. So I'm just deleting the things, so it's really not needed. So yeah, so you will receive an yeah, invitation, just sign up, and if you have any questions you can put it there. That's okay. All right, yeah, and that's all from my side for today. Any questions?
Tomorrow holiday na, sir?
Sorry, Salesh.
Tomorrow there is no class, no?
Yeah, there is no sessions on Sundays. Yeah, next session is going to be on Monday. For US people, it is going to be on Sunday. Any questions? I hope everyone have created your AWS account. I hope everyone doesn't have any issues until so far of any of your practice. Anything, just let me know now. We'll sort it out. Any questions? Don't hesitate to ask the questions. Even if it is a wrong question, I'll correct you. Nothing wrong. Okay, but you'll clear your questions. Okay, so that's what my suggestion. Don't hesitate to ask because we are actually doing a remote thing. So I don't know what you are actually thinking, right? So you have to put your thought. Okay, so if you're having any kind of issues. Any. The plan for the next session is we're going to talk about some understanding about a web application. So how does a web applications looks like in the real time? Okay, and yeah, so and basically we'll be start implementing with the basics, and then we'll go into a project and we'll understand the project architecture, and we will move on to shell scripting from there. Okay, that's the idea. Any questions?
I had one small question
Yeah,
regarding like actually now in market Azure DevOps and AWS DevOps is the main two concepts. Okay, how we can relate those two? For example, if I go with AWS DevOps, can I cover half of the concepts in Azure? Same thing like, because in my company they're using both the cases. In one IT scenarios they're using AWS DevOps. In some cases they're using, slowly they're going to cover up with the fully into one kind of either they will go for Azure DevOps, and then either they can go for AWS DevOps. So in that case, if at least I can cover with AWS, if I move to other company, I can go with at least I can cover some of the points in Azure also, right?
Yeah, cloud concept wise it is same. Okay, options wise it changes from cloud to cloud, but the fundamental concept always, cloud is nothing super basically. It's end of the day, if you relate what you have on the ground is always same, either it is Amazon or I mean if it is Azure, doesn't really matter. Yeah, so it's about how do you look into that is quite important basically. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, anyone, any other questions? Okay, all right. I think there is still 5 more minutes. Utilize the time. So if you have any questions, just dump it. Even there's nothing wrong in asking any topic. Okay, let's not put this way. Any topic, anything in your mind, ask me then. Let's have some interaction then.
Yeah, Raghu.
Yes, Nasi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, in future, which cloud is the competitor of AWS, IBM cloud?
Yeah, Azure is in the second place at least, but there's a long gap between Amazon and Azure. Okay, so Amazon itself now goes with some 65+% is the numbers. Okay, so but all together, Azure, Google, IBM, Alibaba, and DigitalOcean, major clouds, everyone together comes under 35%. Yeah, but the second person is Azure. Yeah, and there's a long way to go. At least 5-6 years, even 10 years down the line. Also, I doubt actually Azure can cross the Amazon's. So what we call revenue.
Okay. Yeah, Raghu, what you're saying correct. But as business perspective, everyone thinking is, for example, IBM Cloud, they offer some services free. If you want to transfer data from one region to another region, that is one data center to another data center, they will cost free. At that time, so everyone looking to that cloud only, na? Why they are going to pay much money to go some other cloud? That is my doubt. My doubt is IBM is important or not? IBM cloud also important or not? That's my question, because they offer some services free or like that. That's my doubt.
So let me tell you, in a very simple, in a stupid way, might be. So see, if cost is the only factor, okay. So the cars which are sold and the manufacturers is going to be manufacturing only the low-level cars only, okay, cheap cars, right? But there is always a market for medium and luxurious range cars are also there, right? So do you think, like, what is the answer to your question now? So does free matters there? Or cost matters there, right? So when you run the business, basically, cost is not one of the factor you look into. I mean, cost is definitely a factor, no doubt in that, but that's not a major factor you look into. The stability and is a quite important thing there. Okay, stability and maturity, right? So that's where the Amazon stands in the first place. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So there's always a premium. Okay, so you came to my course. Okay, you're paying some X amount. Okay, you go to Udemy, you'll get it in 500,000 rupees also. But yet you are here, right? So what actually we're trying to? There's a premium. I'm like considering with there. Actually, my training is premium, but still you're here. The cost is the only factor you would have went there, right? But that's not you're looking. End of the day. Okay, companies also it works the same way. Okay, so IBM is offering some services like let's say. I mean, my relation with the IBM, like let's say my relation with the organization of IBM, my company's relation with IBM is much better. So and like let's say IBM is giving like so kind of much offer. You come to my cloud and we offer some services. Even whatever you ask, also we try to so provide it in some in few quarters. Whatever you ask, kind of commitment will be there. Some from organizations to organizations. In such cases, the people will go. But look for the business perspective. If you want to run a full-fledged application, so with all the mature products available, then only Amazon is the only answer right now. Okay, none of the other clouds has mature products like how Amazon is having. Yeah, I'm not selling Amazon. I'm just telling the reality basically. Yeah, that's the only simple thing. Yeah. Any other? I think Sendil, you're saying something. I muted you. You can unmute.
Yeah, actually, not about the technical parts. Till now, I haven't got any update from the organizer. So, how to contact them, or they will contact me?
Just ping him. Nothing wrong, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Raghu, the importance of Terraform, can you highlight something about it? I mean,
yeah. So so today only we talked about something called as immutable infrastructure, right? So immutable infrastructure, if you want to make it, so that means so that the servers are never modified after deployments. Okay, so that means what actually is going to do is you're going to make the changes through the code, right? And that's why the Terraform is a key tool, which is a kind of a monopoly still, but there's alternatives, but those are not matured alternatives yet. So their ideas are there, but enterprise level Terraform is the only monopoly in that area. Okay, so yeah, so that's a quite important tool, at least in today's market. If you are dealing with the cloud, so now you're creating a server by clicking next, but never later basically will never go and create with clicks. Everything come through code. Okay,
yeah.
It is a code. Actually, I'll talk about some strategies are there. Okay, GitOps and certain things. So it falls under those standards. The major important thing is immutability. People are actually looking into these concepts today. I mean, immutability again is a word actually not even heard by 80-90% of the organizations yet even. Okay, so it all starts with small companies, definitely, right? So to save the cost, to do the things faster with minimal resources, it all starts with small organizations. The evolution always starts with small organizations. Yeah, so certain organizations started implementing these things. Yeah, and yeah, so definitely.
Can it do intercloud? So
anything. So you deal with the infra, there is no limitation. It can be Amazon, it can be Azure, it can be on-premise data center, it can be a network device, it can be a database. Anything you can touch with Terraform if the module is there. That's it.
Meaning I can invoke. I can have the Amazon server talk to the Azure using
server talking to server is a network connection, so that Terraform doesn't work.
Yeah, that's not really my question. My point was that if I have some cloud interaction from Amazon into Azure, can I do that in Terraform?
No, Terraform is about creating the infra, right? You can create the infra in Amazon at the same time. You can create the infra in Azure at the same time.
Oh, okay.
You can launch both the servers at the same time, one in Amazon, one in Azure. And if the network connectivity between them is already established, then both can connect. So Terraform, if you are actually making Terraform to make it communicatable. Also, yeah, if the modules are there to open the firewalls and things like that, yes, it is possible. Yeah. Any questions? So follow this one only, roadmap.sh/DevOps. Okay, so this is a beautiful thing, at least to know what is going in the market. Okay, so if you are looking for Terraform and the alternative, so there is a CloudFormation, but CloudFormation is limited only to Amazon. But there is something called as Pulumi. Okay, so Pulumi is something which makes even much better, but still, as I mentioned, so things are not matured yet here. Okay, so yeah, takes time. But yeah, at least there is an alternative came through.
Yeah, we are converting cloud formation to Terraform.
Yeah, CloudFormation has limitations again. So yeah, since Terraform is an open source, so you will get a lot of contribution, and feature enhancements will be faster in open source than an enterprise product, I would say. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. Any other questions? So I think if no questions, probably we can complete for the day. So I don't want this instance, I'll terminate this instance. Yeah, we can launch whenever it is needed. Okay, and also very important thing I was mentioning, look through the billing. So your billing should not be any any surprises. Basically every day try to go through the billing. Okay, so 2 rupees is the what I have spent so far, and that is for EC2. I think for you that might also will not be there, because if yours is a free account, but mine is not a free account, so that's where I have to pay that much. That's fine. But yeah, so this much time I'm actually running. Okay, almost I ran 2.2 hours, and that's the billing came. Okay, might be 2 days it comes in sometime. Okay, so but no surprise bills. Okay, so just watch every day at least your billing. All right, I think that's all from my side. So probably we can meet in day after tomorrow. So yeah, we'll continue there. Thank you. See you on next session. Bye. Good day.